Hi all, welcome back to Budget Flow. My name is VK, and today let's build a stock investment portfolio in Excel. In the previous tutorial, we've done this in Google Sheets, so I'll provide the link below. You can download the template for free and use it. But this time around, let's shift to Excel and see the difference in terms of the formulas, in terms of the layout, and how to apply those formulas in Excel. The structure will be the same. We'll focus first on building the actual portfolio, then we'll focus on a few charts, and then we'll do the performance of the specific equities within the portfolio. The main difference obviously is that in Google Sheets you have the query function, and Excel will have a combination of HStack, filter, and sort functions to make sure we do this properly. So once again, and then both models will be there for free. Grab them, use them, compare which one do you like more, comment. And once again, don't forget, here we'll focus on building the real life skills and real analytical skills. There is so much more to come, and stay tuned for more. But without any further ado, let's start by building the model in Excel.
Okay guys, so we are back in our stock portfolio tracker. You can see it's completely empty with a small exception. The quantity and the average price that you can get from your brokerage account is pre-kind defined, so you can update this manually depending on your portfolio that you have. And also here, just for the reference, I've listed here all the companies that we are going to be referring to. So there will be a kind of a three. We'll develop this portfolio tracker in the same way that we've done with Google Sheets. So in three stages. So first, we'll build the portfolio, then we'll add some charts, and we will finish with a performance. So let's go for it. And as an extra, also you will be getting a watch list, which I will be focusing a bit more in the next couple of videos. So nevertheless, let's dive into this. So let's suppose and let's assume that Apple, as we can see here, is the first is the first stock within our portfolio. So right now, when we wrote the ticker, when we enter the ticker of the Apple AAPL in the cell B21, then what we'll have to go, and we'll go to data, and you can see here you need to press on stocks. Therefore, we'll convert the symbols, the ticker symbols, to the company names. Everything will be converted. So once we'll press stocks, you can see this is the Apple Incorporation stock, which is listed on Nasdaq Stock Exchange. We'll press select, and there we go. Automatically, we already listed the Apple uh, Apple Apple stock in our portfolio. So, by the way, if we want to go and start adding more data, we can actually press and press. You will see this pop up here, and we can select the plus sign here, so we can actually insert the data, and you'll see how much of the information the stock is available. Stock information is available in the Excel, but there will be other functions such as, again, stock history that we will focus shortly as well in the next videos. So for the name, it's as simple as we will be referring to our cell B21, and instead of, and the way that obviously, if you recall, we had Google Finance and Google Sheets, but in Excel, all we need to do is we need to reference the cell B21, press dot, and then what we need is then we can type name. We can select an official name and then press enter, and there you go, Apple Incorporation. So that's what you have to do, as simple as that. And then it will follow very much the same logic. So the total cost, so the quantity will be multiplied by the average cost. The life price will be going back to our B21 dot, and then let's type price. I'll press enter, and there you go. This is the live price of the Apple stock. To calculate the portfolio value, all we need to do right now is actually multiply the live price by the quantity of the shares which we currently have in our portfolio. And there you go. To calculate actually the P&L, all we need to do right now is then we'll have to subtract the portfolio value minus the total cost, and therefore we are actually profitable in our portfolio in terms of the Apple stock within our portfolio. For the P&L, we'll have a number of different options the way you can calculate this, but the simple one and the easiest one is that you'll have to divide the P&L, whether it's a positive or a negative number. You will be dividing this by total cost, how much it costs you to actually purchase all those 50 shares of Apple, and it's actually so we are actually 11% up on our Apple stock, and that's kind of the first step. So right now, for the sake of this tutorial, all we need to do right now is that I will aim to these. I will copy this. I will paste it here. All my stocks right now, right? So you can see we have, all I need to do is like this. All I have to do right now is I've copied all my tickers, and then all we have to do is we have to the name, go to the Apple Incorporation in the column C. And if we want to simplify and make the process faster, we just need to double click on this green rectangle, and there you go. Automatically the formulas will be applied. And by the way, if we want and actually to streamline and simplify to make the process much faster, all we need to do right now is select the cells and the rows and in respect to the columns that we want to populate, and then just double click once again, and the Excel will automatically populate all the rows below which would contain the data, especially in respect to each ticker. So as simple as that. And there you go. So now we know where are we making money. So actually Microsoft, we're doing quite well, but even better, we're making Palantir, and then we're doing very well on Netflix as well. So, but then we're not doing so great on AMD, Coinbase, and Adobe. So this is very simple. Finally, if we want to actually to look at this from the allocation perspective, we need to know the total value of our portfolio. And for this, all I will do is I will refer to my sum function. I will use the sum function on the column H. So we start with H21, and then let's say I'll go for the H100 to make sure we have about 79 stocks listed if you have. And there you go. That's the current value of our portfolio. So all we need to do right now is that we'll have to divide the portfolio value. We'll divide by the total value of our portfolio. But very importantly, don't forget, we are going to be locking this up with absolute reference. So there you go, dollar signs between the M and number 2, which corresponds once again to the cell M2, which is in column M and row 2. All we need to do right now is double click on this, and there we go, it's done. So finally, to finish the first part of the video, what is our return on investment? And it's going to be extremely simple, and therefore that's what we can do. We can actually do this by, again, there are a number of different ways the way you can do this, but if we would do the same approach, if we would, as we have done here, so what we have to do is that we need to sum our current P&L and divide it by the total cost of the P&L, so it kind of will give us the percentage by which we are actually, if we're performing well or not. So let's do this. So I will sum, and I will sum our P&L, column I will do again to a 100, and I will divide this by the total cost, which is sum of the total cost between F21 and F100. Again, there are many different ways, but it's probably the fastest and the easiest one to make it. So if I'll press enter, it gives us that we are actually 26.6% on our return on investment in comparison to what our portfolio is worth right now. So we are actually doing not bad in comparison to, well, we're doing actually not bad when it comes to the overall performance, how much in terms of the P&L profit we are making in our current portfolio. So this is it, as simple as that. So simple math and a bit of a logical use of the stocks function within the Excel. So now we can now move to the second part, which will build the graphs, and it's going to be fun as well. So moving on to our second part, let's build just a quick few two charts, the donut chart and the bar chart, to reflect the allocation and the difference between the total cost and the portfolio value of each of our assets here, equities. Um, so here's what we are going to do. So first of all, let's use the insert uh, graph option. So we are going to be the pie chart here, the donut chart. Okay, that's not what we want, but what we can do right now, and we will manipulate right now the data, which will go this. So I'm probably this will be the good size for my, yeah, this should be a good kind of half of the dashboard chart design. We are going to be selecting the data. So let's just remove everything here. We don't need this, remove everything. Just to simplify, and let's do the following. Let's do for the again for the series, we are going to be adding the portfolio allocation. We can name this right now. And then for the values, we can make sure we are going to be selecting this range here between cell K21 and K32. And if I'll press OK, that's good. But instead of the ones and twos, I can select right now my range of the equities and press OK. I am happy that my equities are reflected there. And there you go. We have a clear visualization in terms of our equities and how they are allocated, how does our portfolio look like. So in order to improve the chart per se, I can delete the title. It's up to you if you want to keep this, but I know it is an allocation, so it's going to be very simple to understand. I want to have, okay, so the legend, let's make it to the right. I think it's a much better, so it creates a much bigger donut chart. For the fill, I don't want to have any fill of the background. Then here for the color of the text, let's make it again white. And I'm actually I think it's actually looks good on this. So for the border, let's put no line for the border. Just let me select this, no line. And there we go. I think it looks quite nice. It's by the way, if you want, in the chart design, you will have an option to add data labels if you want to. And if we'll select show, and then in terms of the visibility of this data labels, because we want the percentages, want the values, and this is fine because this is correspond to percentages. If we're going to be using white, let me check with the white and bold. It's okay. I think it's still visible, and I think it's still valid for us to use that. So remember, if you want, you can actually create in the chart design, you can go for the chart elements, you can have data labels here, and you can press show, and then in the label options, you can see this chart here. You can select, well, given that we already working with allocation, we don't need to declare percentages, but nevertheless, we're at the values here. Fine, this is good. So one more graph I wanted to go for my understanding what exactly has been the difference between my total cost and the portfolio value. So for this, I will be using my bar chart, and let's just put it here. There you go. Just to see if we occupy the relevant area. of the spreadsheet. So then we are going to go to select the data. So what we want right now is, once again, let's go with the name, select the range, which will be first the total cost, F20, and the range, which is interest to us, will be between F21 and F32. Press OK. We'll get another one, which will be the series name will be portfolio value, which corresponds to H20. And then for the series value, we are going to be selecting once again H21, H32. So exactly the same. And finally, for our axis labels, we'll be selecting our names of our equities within our portfolio. Press enter, OK, OK. There we go. This is what we wanted essentially. And now all we need to do is we will be able to, let's call it a no fill. If I don't, obviously I don't want a background. Again, in terms of the white for the text and white here for the numbers. Here, actually, I don't like the grid, so I will be just select this within the chart, press delete. I'll delete that. For the colors, right? So for example, this is the color that we are, so the blue ones is the total cost. I will go for this red color. And by the way, what we can do here in the chart options, we can reduce our gap width to 50, and this will apply to everyone. And then actually, if we want to make it slightly stand out, what we can do is actually we can do a slight glow to the chart, as you can see, and maybe the size will be, let's put it 3. Here, as you can see, three points here. Perfect. This is good. And then for our portfolio value, what I will do is then I will change the color to this green. Everything else has been very much adjusted, with the exception of I want to have a slight glow, 3 points here, and there you go. The only thing which we can further have is that if we have series overlap, maybe -10 would be a slightly better option. So you can see they're much closer together right now. And actually what is missing here is that, number one, I don't want any border here. So let's see if we remove the border by selecting it, no border. And I actually, this time in the chart design, I want to add a legend, and the legend at the top. So I can clearly see that the red is corresponding to the total cost, and the portfolio value is looking at the green. So I can kind of identify where I am within my stock, within my equities, obviously, which are part of my portfolio. So as simple as that, we created a mini dashboard. But remember, in the select data, we have specifically selected the rows and the columns which correspond to our portfolio, within to our equities within our portfolio. So if you have an increased number of them, you'll have to readjust the data. And you can just simply by selecting the so if we want to add an extra here, for example, an extra ticker here with our portfolio, all we need to do is just go back here to the um, chart design, and then select data, and then we'll have to readjust. We should be pushing one row further down. So instead of 32 here, we'll need to push it to 33. So as simple as that. But anyhow, any questions on that, comments below. As always, I'm here to help. But nevertheless, let's dive into the last part of this, which is a performance. And this is where we'll require to combine 3 formulas into one. And this is where it's going to be exciting as well. Okay, so finally we are in the third part of this tutorial. And this is where things are going to be get will be different from Google Sheets, because in the Google Sheets, once again, link below, get the template, use it. We'll use the query function, but this time around, we are going to be combining the HStack, filter, and the sort, everything into one. So let's dive into this. So first, we are going to be using the HStack, and this is where we will be selecting the two different arrays within the data frame that we have. And once again, I want to make sure that we are selecting the C21 to C100, and the second one, which I want, is my performance in terms of the percentages, and this is where J21 to J100. If I'll close this, look at this, what will happen now. So essentially, we're just copying this arrays, but you can see all the different numbers here. So pretty much we took those arrays, we took those columns between those ranges, between the cells, between the rows 21 and 100, and they just kind of have been transported to the columns M and H. But right now we need to actually to wrap this up into in the filter function. So let's do this. So for the filter function, the way it works, first we have the main array, which is a part, which is the base, the foundation of what we want to filter, and this is our H stack. This is our completely H stack formula, and then for the comma, we'll have to perform a slightly different part right now. So what we need to do right now is that I will select the H, I will open the brackets, I will be selecting once again this array here as S21 to S100, and then I will make sure I will do the following. I will use as you can see the symbols here with the quotation marks, and then for the first array, and then I will do the same. I will copy. Given that we're using HStack and we're filtering on the basis of two arrays, what I'm trying to say this, filter, use these arrays with those columns, essentially with those specifically defined arrays, which were taken from those columns and rows, and filter them. Make sure that you include all the cells, all the rows where there is data. I will not, if there is no data, I don't want to see them. And this is what is happening right now. So if I press enter right now, as you can see, all the zeros which we had previously have disappeared now. And therefore we have clear structure of our equities of our portfolio. So now all we need to do is to finish this. We need to sort this. And once again, the sort, you can see the first part is an array, and this will be everything within a filter, and HStack will be our array. Then for the index, we are going to be saying that we want to filter by, well, we want the second column, which is our performance. Then sort order, we want to be it -1 descending. And if I'll close this, we should be able to get our portfolio done. So once again, done. Press enter, and there we go. So we have now clearly identified this exactly. So we've combined successfully three formulas: HStack, filter, and sort. And as simple as that. So all we need to do right now is just add a simple graph here, which hopefully will be representing our top performance by return on investment, and will be updated dynamically once either the price changes or our average cost changes. So let's do it now and finish this tutorial. For this, I will be selecting for this, let me go to, once again, I'll go to insert. I'm going to be inserting this time, I want to insert the horizontal bars. I will drag this here. I will drag this. I'll drag this. Perfect. Select data. And you remember for the series, as simple as we want, this time around, we don't necessarily need to have the title, but all we can do, or we can add it later, We'll select once again our M21, M32, which correspond to our portfolio, right? And as you can see here, so all we need to do, press OK. And lastly, all we need to do is to make sure that for the axis labels, we'll select the names of our equities. Once again, M21, M32, press OK. Press OK here as well. I think everything looks good. And there we go. This is our performance. But one thing that so for the graph part, that's what we need to essentially, all I will do is I will select the essentially of this data frame, this table of information, which gives us our top performance. And I will actually go once again, as simple as go to the insert, a recommended chart if you want to, or you know exactly which chart you want to use. But this time around, I really want a clustered bar, as you can see, but horizontal one. I'm actually fine with this, with the suggestion, and that's exactly what I wanted. Press enter, and there we go. Right now, all we need to do is to pull this up here to its specific location where I want our graph to be inserted. This is where I want it to be in terms of the location on this tab on the spreadsheet. And finally, as you can see, there are a couple of things which we need to amend. So number one, I will move my head just to make sure this is clear. So number one, I don't want to have any fill again in terms of the fill, in terms of the background. I don't want this. Once again, it's easy to change, and we must change the color of our font and the percentages once again. What we will do right now is that I will select by pressing on the bar. As you can see, I will press the color. I'll change into this green, which I like. In terms of the C series options, once again, gap width, I'll put it 50, so we'll increase. As you can see, we have increased actually the width of each of the at each of the bars. The only thing which is really missing, and I really and this is why feel I really think that Google Sheets does a much better job. It's in respect to, you can see the order, because here in the top performance by return on investment, we have our equities in the descending order, but our chart right now shows that we are having essentially things in the opposite direction. So our best performers are at the bottom, and we want this to be them at the top. So all I want to do right now is actually, when it comes to the clicking and formatting the axis, as you can see, I've pressed on the essentially with the right click with the right mouse button, format, and then there is, you can see format axis. Give me a second, I will do this again for you. So format axis, and then here at this axis options, you have one option which is tells you categories in the reverse order. So that's exactly what we want. So if I'll click here, categories in the reverse order, it changes. So it shifts from and right now the shift and corresponds to our descending order top performers equity, or the equities that perform the best by return on investment. The only things you can see, which I really don't like right now, is that we have the percentages at the top, and that's why I'm not, as I said, I'm a big fan of Excel when it comes to data analytics, and we will have much more focused on Excel. Uh, but it is really Google Sheets that, in my view, for this level of models is perfect. Once again, I'll remove the border because I don't think it matters, the border, but at least we know that essentially the percentages, once again, they're not the best percentages. You can see we don't necessarily have a best view of them. But if we want, we can start playing around with, for example, with custom angle in terms of how they are written there. So if I'll put 30%, let's call it actually minus 30%. So it kind of works out slightly better from the perspective of you having like visually, it looks better essentially. So we know exactly the percentages. So it reads much better if we do a slight tilt in respect to how the percentage are shown. So this is it actually. So this is what we've built right now. So I think hopefully when you look at this right now portfolio, it's simple and easy to understand how to do this. What I really want to actually to have it further, and as I will include in this model a watch list. And once again, I will include this, but you can see that essentially it's within each one of the each one of the equities that we will have, you will be able to see the formula here. And this is once the ticker is converted through the data tab to a stock, it's so easy actually to work around these. So I will for now, given that we are probably running quite a bit of a time right now, we'll pause. But the main focus is that I will help you to build a watch list also in Google Sheets as well and Excel. And one thing I really want to emphasize the stock history here, the formula, which I'll go through the next video, and then a couple of other things here. But those are the minor things. I think the most important one is that you're able to track your portfolio. Once again, you're able to see if you are positive, if you're in profits, and what's the rate of your return as well, the percentage of your return. So as simple as that. Once again, thanks so much. This model will be available to download for free. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. There is tons of materials which again focuses on data analytics, building the models, finance, and business and personal finance. So we'll get to this. So once again, thanks so much. And if you like this, thumbs up. I appreciate all the support. Thanks all, and I'll see you the next one.